What's up, everyone? Feeper here with another video for you. Sorry about the delay on these. I'm trying to get this content out, but with the holidays, with Thanksgiving coming around, last week was pretty much just a no-go. And I've also had a decent amount of trouble getting queues. I haven't really been able to get in any PvP games recently. I was able to get a couple Paladin games for this video, but I haven't been able to do anything else. Like, I literally have been sitting in queues for hours, like watching Netflix on the side, and I just haven't gotten them. So that's a little concerning, but all right, so I'm not going to go over too much of the changes, as I already did that in my last video about the tanks overall. So if you're curious about my thoughts on all the individual changes, go and check out that video. I'll have a link in the description. But as of right now, I'm just going to kind of go through the kit. Oh, there's a little dust flying in my face. I'm just going to go through the kit like I did the first time, pretending that this is like the first time you've ever seen this job, and we'll get into it. Also, sorry about the strange glare on my face. The sun is being very uncooperative right now. So you have your standard 3-hit combo, Royal Authority. Each hit does increasing potency. Again, I'm not going to go over the exact numbers, but it does give you 5 oath gauge per hit. Now, we also have an AoE combo. It's your 2-hit AoE combo, giving you 5 oath gauge per hit. And the last hit gives you 250 mana per enemy hit. So if you hit 2 people, it's the same as if you did your normal 3-hit combo in terms of mana consumption or regeneration. But if you hit more than 2, obviously it's more. So, keep that in mind. It's also technically, if you hit 2, it's faster to just do the 2, this and then this again, because it's only 2 hits as opposed to 3, but then you also lose potency. So, keep all that in mind. Now, we also have Holy Spirit. This costs 5,000 mana now, so you can only cast 2 of them. So just keep that in mind. Now, of course, you still have Requiscat, giving you the ability to cast 3. Holy Circle also requires 5,000 mana now as well. So just, be mindful of those 2 things. That's different than what it was before. Confetti is exactly the same. Nothing new here. Still costs 50 gauge. Reduces the target's damage dealt by 50%. So nothing crazy there. Shield Lob is just on the global cooldown range attack, generating 5 gauge now, which is nice. Now Intervene hasn't changed, but its effect has. So it gives you Sword Oath for 10 seconds. But now you can spend that on either Atonement or this Conal AoE, Glory Slash, which has a pretty sick animation, not going to lie. So now it builds off this AoE combo as well, which is really nice. It has the same Oath generation as if you did Atonement, just Cone AoE potency as opposed to single target. Now on top of that, one of the 2 new abilities that we got, well, I guess strictly speaking 2, besides like the changes to everything else, we have Tetsudo. I hope I'm saying that right. So instant cast, 60-second cooldown, and essentially it just creates a barrier around you and all your party members for 10 seconds. That is the equivalent of a 2,500 potency heal. I wish, like I said before, they kept this being as a certain amount of your percentage of health or just a flat reduction rate. The shield equal to a 2,500 potency heal is not really, doesn't really mean much. Like, it's hard to judge how much that actually is. So I wish they would be a little bit more clear about that, but whatever. This is what the animation looks like. It's pretty sick. It's pretty simple, but it's got a nice little effect there. And it's pretty strong. 60-second cooldown is a little long, but considering its duration and how much it protects, it's pretty strong. And also in conjunction with the next ability, Intervention. So this replaces cover. Cover's gone. This is an instant cast, 30-second cooldown. Gives the target party member reduced damage taken by 20% for 6 seconds. And if you have the additional action Rampart, selected and saved to your changes, then if you have that on and you use this, it will increase that up to 30%. So, Rampart, like before, Rampart had Rampart's biggest use was on Paladin of the 4 tanks. That's sort of how I was looking to phrase that, but not really. But once again, that's kind of holding true. An extra 10% is pretty strong, and also Rampart did get buffed. That's good. It's definitely something you want to keep in mind. Now, just real quickly going over the other actions that all the tanks have now. We all have this healing potion, 15-second, 2,000 potency cure, up to 6,000 as your HP decreases. Pretty strong. Bolt is literally just sprint on 30-second cooldown, and then low blow is a 600 potency stun for 2 seconds. So that's pretty much it for Paladin. Hollow Ground is the same. It's not too bad. I'm not going to go into the additional actions because I already did that in the other video. What I will say, however, are the ones that are pretty useful on Paladin. You know, everyone's going to be using Reprisal a lot. Reprisal is very, very strong still. Rampart is also pretty good because of its interaction with Intervention. And then Weapon Throw is also pretty strong. I think on Paladin, it's going to require more testing. I don't know if this is worth it over Rampart, but the draw-in effect is pretty nice. It's a little bit extra potency. So, you know, other than that, we have Retaliation, which is for 10 seconds, you deal 800 potency to anyone who attacks you. I don't think this is really that great because it's pretty much... Are you really going to be attacking a tank that much? I don't know. I think it's not the best. And then Full Swing is kind of meh. I mean, the knockback is nice. That's still a nice extra bit of CC, but I think draw-in effects are better. Of course, this does a lot more potency, so that's something to consider. But I don't know. I think Weapon Throw and Full Swing are about mid-tier. And then Rampart can kind of go anywhere depending on if the interaction with Intervention is really that good. I think Retaliation is probably the weakest of the three out of the additional actions. There's like 5 of them now. And then Reprisal is just the best, I think. I think everyone's going to be running Reprisal, and then it's just a matter of what else you run. Although, Full Swing, excuse me, and Weapon Throw could also be pretty strong. Get 2 more CC abilities. That is also a pretty good combo, especially on Paladin, since Confetti already reduces the target party member's damage taken, or dealt, excuse me. So I think either those 2 in combination, so you have 3 forms of CC, or Reprisal Rampart is probably your best bet for this. Again, Retaliation not really looking too hot. So, all right, with that out of the way, that's basic overview of the kit. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more in depth and put some gameplay up so you guys can kind of see how to play the job now. It hasn't changed too much. It's pretty similar in what you're trying to accomplish. So we'll talk about that. So similar to before 5.1, your main goal as a Paladin really is to set up and peel for your team. You don't have as much damage as the other 3 tanks, and it's just not your main focus. So you're going to want to focus more on setting up for your melee and your range DPS and keeping your healer and those melee and range DPS alive. The main ways you're going to be doing this are with Tetsudo, your new AoE damage mitigation ability, Intervention, which replaces cover and is just pretty much better in all ways because you don't take damage anymore. Low Blow, your new stun, Full Swing, Weapon Throw if you have them, and another big thing is Confetti. Now this is kind of what's going to separate you from just like an okay Paladin. Making sure you use Requiscat when you have pretty much no mana to get that extra damage is really, really crucial, and that's going to give you a lot of gauge so that you can have Confetti. You're going to want to keep exactly 50 or more oath gauge if you can at all times, just in case you need it for like an emergency situation. Using Confetti during a DPS's burst can honestly swing the game, or even like a Warrior's Inner Release combo. They home gang someone, Inner Release, and then they double Infuriate after that. If you Confetti them, like, they're just screwed. They're going to do no damage. It's crazy. Or Gunbreaker's Gnashing Fang, that honestly does a lot of damage too. Well, not so much anymore. Being able to time those correctly and having the gauge from them all times by managing your Requiscat and Holy Spirit is really, really strong. Another thing that Paladin is really good at is it doesn't have to worry so much about being in the back line of the enemy team. It can go back there and still support so say you're in their back line and they have a melee DPS and their tank in your back line. You can still damage them with, with Holy Spirit. You can throw 2 of those out, healing yourself, so the healer doesn't have to worry about you at all, really, because you're not going to be, chances are, if you're in their back line attacking their range or their healer, you're not really going to be taking much damage. So anything you do take, you can just absorb and heal, which is another reason, side note, why I don't think Retaliation is very good. And then you can also just always Confetti and just make the people diving your backline take less damage, and then you have Intervene to just get back there really quick if you need to. And I'm not saying that you need to sit in their backline all the time. Again, like I've said before, knowing when to be in your backline and when to be in theirs is probably the hardest skill and the most important skill to master as a tank, but Paladin probably has the easiest time of the 4, considering it has more ranged options, and it can do more with those ranged options because it's more self-sustaining. Whereas something like Warrior is pretty much just like, oh, I can throw if I tomahawk at people and like that's it, you know what I mean? So now since the recording of that first chunk of the video, I have tested. I was actually able to get into one game, and I have tested more with the with full swing and weapon throw on Paladin. I gotta say it's pretty good. I haven't noticed too much of a loss in like team sustain, not having reprisal and rampart for the extra mitigation there with those two abilities. Again, on I think on the other 4 tanks, having reprisal is fairly necessary, but Paladin, since you have it in your kit, it's not as big a deal. So the loss of 10% on intervention with rampart is, you can definitely feel it. I felt it more than I thought I would, but it's not the end of the world. It's fairly manageable. And having the ability to pull someone who's running in, and honestly, I noticed more being able to push someone away, and the extra potency on it too is pretty good. You can do a pretty nasty combo where you like intervention someone or intervene to someone, atone with them 3 times, confetti, because you're probably going to have enough gauge at that point, and then you can full swing them away, double Holy Spirit, and that's probably going to kill them, assuming they don't get healed at all. Like that's a lot. That's a lot of damage. Even though I said before, Paladin doesn't do that much damage, it's in comparison to the other tanks, it doesn't do as much. That doesn't mean it still can't hurt. So, and if you can somehow get in there, like double, like Holy Spirit twice first, intervention, and then atonement 3 times, well, I guess then you would gain some mana back. So maybe but then you don't have the duration from, the duration goes away from that. So that's kind of tricky. So you could dash in, atonement 3 times, double Holy Spirit, Requiscat, Holy Spirit, and then in that off GCD, full swing them, Holy Spirit again, and then confetti at the end to finish them off. Like that's a ton of damage. So that's a pretty nasty combo. If you're trying to wombo combo someone. Again, don't expect to be able to just do that all the time. Teams who know what is happening will make sure the person that you're trying to wombo isn't gonna just die. But that is actually a pretty nasty combo. So I think for Paladin, probably weapon throw full swing might be the way to go. So you consider you don't need reprisal, but I do think the extra 10% that you get on intervention when in conjunction with rampart is valuable. Depends on what you're going against and how you want to play. I think the rampart one is a bit more defensive. If you like to stay back a bit more and just support, I think that's probably better. But if you want to be a bit more aggressive and try and set up and disrupt more, which is kind of what I like to do, then I think the double CC option might be a bit better. It's up to your play style. I think they're both perfectly viable. Again, the only thing I don't think is great on Paladin or on any of them really is Retaliation, although maybe Warrior, but get into that later. So that's going to be a wrap for the video. I think I'll cut it off here. I'm not exactly sure how long this is, but hopefully it's not too terribly long, because again, there's not really a whole lot to talk about with Paladin. It's fairly similar to the way it was before 5.1. As I said in my last video, talking about all the tank changes in general, I think Paladin definitely came out on top. It definitely feels stronger, has a bit more answers to things, which is nice for the Paladin players, maybe not so nice for the other team. If you guys like this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button and drop me a like. And also, let me know what you think about the video in the comment section below. Like I said, I'll have a link to that other video talking about all the tank changes down below. And I might as well link the other videos I did about healers and the magical ranged and melee ranged and melee, or physical ranged and melee ranged and physical melee. I'll throw all those in there. You can also watch me live over at twitch.tv/feeper7. Mostly doing Final Fantasy 14. Obviously, we're doing a lot of Ultimate. Doing some Ishka restoration stuff and just chilling. I just got my Goldsmith to 80, which is pretty sick. So that's ready for the next expansion. Just got to get everything else up. And then PvP when I can. I've just been sitting in queues and crafting. And I haven't really been able to get too many. So that's annoying. Hopefully the ranked bracket will come out soon, so we can start queuing up ranked and seeing how that goes. A bit more of a competitive setting as opposed to just casuals. But other than Final Fantasy, we still got some WoW Classic going on, raiding in there with Molten Core, Nixia, all that good stuff. D&D should be coming back this weekend, hopefully, ? We've had a lot of things come up like last minute for the past 4 weeks or whatever, so that's why there haven't been any videos. Don't worry, we haven't completely forgotten about D&D. And yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to try and get it out as soon as I can. As soon as I can get a queue and get some footage for it, I'll put it up. But in the meantime, I have some other videos in the works, so be on the lookout for those, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.